Tell us about scary situations in life when you suddenly realized, it's time to get the hell out right now. I was walking with my sister in the local park. We arrived around 3 o'clock and wandered around until 9 to 9:30, until on the other side of the park we saw 3 guys in identical clothes. I noticed them immediately, but didn't attach much importance to it. We walked for another 2 minutes, and I noticed that one of them stopped and stared at us. I immediately had a creepy premonition, and I told my sister that it was time to get out of there. She understood everything immediately and we bolted from there. Later that same night, an emergency report about a stabbing in the park appeared in the news. The suspects were those 3 guys we saw. 20 years ago, as a teenager, I was riding my bike home from friends. We all somehow lost track of time and stayed up late, so I was returning when it was already dark. I lived about a couple of kilometers from my friend's house. I turn onto one of the roads that leads to their house, when suddenly I get a strange feeling. I looked back and see the light of headlights. Some car stops at the intersection and slowly turns onto the road I'm riding on. Along this road there are almost no houses, lighting, etc. As soon as they turned, I immediately rushed into the forest and hid somewhere far from the road. The car slowed down, drove past and moved on. I have no idea what they wanted, but I had no desire to participate in it. A year ago, we had a hurricane, Florence, in our state. We planned to go for a walk on the hill and in places where strong winds were not expected. And for the most part, we did not pay attention to the news warnings. The night before the hurricane, I had an extremely anxious feeling in my stomach area, and I began to beg my father to go to my sister, who lived a couple of hours from the sea. We even quarreled over this, but I eventually convinced him. We returned a week after the hurricane and saw a fallen tree on our house, which was also flooded. Behind the house in the forest, a tornado formed, which knocked the tree onto the roof of our house. After this incident, I always trust my intuition, no matter how stupid it may seem. When I was little, some guy approached me and started asking how to get somewhere. I started trying to explain the way to him when suddenly I saw a van driving up with the side door open. I immediately took off running at full speed and didn't look back. I was at a party at some people's place, who suddenly told the guests to continue hanging out in the basement. They were smiling, but spoke with aggression. Most of my buddies and I immediately bailed, but there was one of our guys who decided to stay. As a result, he got robbed. I was babysitting a child when I suddenly heard someone scraping something metallic against the glass, so I immediately hid the children in the closet and called the police.